destination for all things nerdy. Dungeons and Dragons, this world's not blurry. From comics to movies, he's got it all. He's an Outpost nerd living in a geeky world with his lightsaber shining. He's a Star Wars swerve through galaxies and adventures. He'll take you there, take you there. He's an Outpost nerd, no one can compare. Nerd power, yeah, he's the king of nerds, catching that flare.
Hello, my nerds, geeks, and dweebs, and welcome to another transmission from the Outpost Nerd. I am the nerd of the Outpost, and I hope everyone is having a great day today. It's a cloudy day down here in the Sunshine State, but I'm loving life. I hope everyone's doing great and just living a good life. Today, we are reviewing Dune Part 2, which, in my opinion, is probably one of the better renditions of the Dune series. It's so good. It's unlike the other versions, from the 80s and 2000s. This one is actually, for the most part, done in the desert. It's finally able to get out there, so you got a real feel, much more grander scope of it than compared to the 80s version, where you had the beautifully done. Don't get me wrong, but you had the beautifully painted backdrops. Hey, Inya, go get the kitties. But it's a great movie. There was not perfect, never perfect. There were some things I didn't like. I didn't like to change the Chani. Chani, from what I remember, was a very soft-spoken, very skilled warrior, but she didn't hide her femininity. Well, Zendaya, I think, for the name recognition that she was bringing to the part, they changed her character a lot. They made it a bigger character, made her more gruff, took a lot of the femininity away from her in this regard, in this version. But I enjoyed it for the most part. So, as always, I'm going to start with the Rotten Tomato score, and we're going to see the what the critics and the audience think. So here we have 93% from the reviewers and a 95% from the audience, which, so compared to most movies I've talked about here at the Outpost, it's fairly balanced. You don't have the 20-30 point difference between the two rating types. Well, let's see what let's click here, see what they say. From Corey Woodruff from USA Today, we get so many movies that use up the space Part 2 does, but a very, very few manage to do so much with a canvas like this. Much like the great sequels before, this film is essential. Rob Hunter from Film School Rejects, Zendaya brings the heart and humanity. I don't know about that. From Kimberly Pierce from Geek Girl Authority, when all is said and done, this can only be described as an unapologetic rave. Director Dennis, I can't pronounce his name, jumps into what could be easily be by a by the books franchise sequel and creates a cinematic feast for the senses. So yeah, that's what I loved about the scope of the movie. It was so beautiful, and it's a great adaptation because in the world of Dune, I think I've spoken about this before. You have personal shields, so you're the entire idea of firearms has gone the way of the bow and arrow. No one uses them anymore, so that's why we see these epic sword fights, and you don't see like you see some large artillery, but they're especially created to react with a vehicle shields in a way that's just catastrophic and explosive. Um, we and we see the knife fights, just these amazing choreographed um, fight scenes that are just they're almost like this huge, fast-paced dance. Um, the casting was, for the most part, I think, well done. I thought Christopher Walken as the Emperor was an odd choice, and I think they kind of they turned him into a very almost broken down old man, which I think I understand why, because you see, hey, when we meet the Emperor, you see how broken he is of what he had to do to Duke Leto. You know, um, the princess says, he loved uh, the Duke as a son, but what do you do in that kind of environment as the Emperor when someone you're so close to might be getting the power to overthrow you? So it's kind of um, it's you could see his pain, and I thought that was I thought it was a strange but interesting choice for him to play, and like I think a great choice for the Baron was Stellan Skarsgård. He was just amazing in the performance. He really played up the the calculating viciousness, I guess you could say, of the Baron. Um, yeah, it was a mini series back in 2000 with, and the only cast member I can remember off the top of my head in you was um, John Hurt played Duke Leto. I think that was no, not John Hurt. What was his name? Um, what was his name? William Hurt, not John Hurt. So, got the last name wrong, right? But the first name wrong. Um, this is the people got to realize this is the third time that they have adapted Dune, and I think it's the best so far. You know, Dune. It's it's regarded by a lot of people as as the best science fiction um, novel ever written. It was written by Frank Herbert and published in 1965. So it's been around, and it has just um, it's influenced so many other aspects of culture, music, games. Even there's even Apollo 15 even named a small crater on Earth's moon after the novel in 1971. It's just so it's and it talks about such religious fanaticism in such a way that we I think especially today we can really see in the world today. But uh, it may the movie had a budget of $272.1 million. Oh, it earned 200. Uh, it earned 200 and excuse me. It earned 272.1 million from the U.S. box office, but the overall worldwide it earned 684.5 million, and it's estimated to earn between 700 and 720 million once its run is complete. Uh, it had a budget of 190 million, which it earned back its budget, I think, fairly well. Yeah, I mean it doubled its budget, so it did a felt fairly well run. But let's see what other reviewers have to say. Here, let's read Forbes. Dune Part 2. Gorgeous, awe-inspiring, and hollow. This is by Eric Kane, senior contributor at Forbes. Let's look at it. What he says. The good. The film is absolutely gorgeous. If it's one that you may really want to see on the best screen you can find, preferably in a theater with really great sound. The seats were shaking at some point. Yeah, I mean, there's so much spectacle. It's a little overwhelming at times, and it's all so well crafted. Other than the lack of sweat, still odd for such a hot planet. Arrakis feels real, and we see much more of it this time around. Yeah, that's what I mentioned that earlier. It being, I think, able to be filmed on location, and of course there was probably their studio sets, but a lot of the desert scenes were probably filmed on location. It gave us a grander scope of the world of Arrakis and how dangerous it can be, and really gave us more a better insight into the uh, the Fremen people. But this thing he says, other than the lack of sweat, they're wearing these suits that collect the sweat. So I think that's kind of a nitpick on his end. Let's see. Let's go down the mixed. And here's what I said earlier. Chani is given an expanded role, but also one that is oddly combative with Paul when he gets to know the Fremen, becoming first Moadit before fully embracing his role as a prophesied son of Glebe, or the Kwisatz Haderach in Bene Gesserit lore, the femur-led order of the mind-controlling witches that plan on. They, in any case, Chani is very upset by Paul's transformation in the film and storms out when he is given Princess Lauren's hand in marriage. Something in the book Chani wouldn't be bothered by in the slightest. Okay, and this is That's my biggest critique of Chani in this version. She's not understanding what Paul is sacrificing and having to do for the peace. You know, he has this great line in that I've seen in the this one Paul says to her in the book when he takes the princess as his wife. He says to Chani, see, I swear to you now that you'll need no title. That woman over there will be my wife, and you but a concubine, because this is a political thing, and we must wield peace out of this moment. Enlist the great houses of the Landstrad. We must obey the forms. Yet that princess shall have no more of me than my name, no child of mine, nor touch, nor softness of glance, nor instant of desire. Paul is telling her, this is just political. This means nothing. She means nothing. You are what I want. You're what I want, but you're not what I can have. I have to have her, but I'm going to want you. And Jessica, Lady Jessica, Paul's wife, who has been in this position before, she was never married. Paul's parents were never married. Duke Leto had Jessica as her concubine, and they just happened to fall in love, which is the reason Paul was born, because Jessica was sent by the Bene Gesserit to have only daughters, so that daughter could be married to Harkonnen and create the Kwisatz Haderach from that union. Basically, Paul being a male, made the Kwisatz Haderach arrive a generation too early. So Jessica adds something that I absolutely love. This is one of my favorite lines in a lot of in any book I've read. One of my favorites. Jessica says to Chani, think of it, Chani, that princess will have the name, yet she will live as less than a concubine, never to know a moment of tenderness from the man to whom she's bound. While we, Chani, we can carry the name of concubine. We who carry the name of concubine, history will call us wives. That just shows you, like, Paul is with the princess out of duty. He's with Chani out of love. And this Chani, Zendaya's Chani, I don't think she cares nor understands that. That was my biggest pet peeve when she stormed out at the end. Some of the characters were missing, but I didn't really notice. This was a story, I think, of so in the movie, did they color all that differently so they didn't anger the feminists? Maybe. You never know. They certainly race swapped in the um in the first one. The what's his name? Dr. Kane's who's the imperial ecologist, they raced and gender swapped that character. And originally, from what if I remember right, it was in the movie, in the miniseries, or in the '80s movies in the miniseries, he was a white man. He just been on Arrakis so long, he had the Fremen blue eyes due to being there so long, and he's basically he'd gone native. But in this Dune, it was a black woman, which I didn't really care, but it's just the fact that they didn't. It's once again is that pandering thing that Hollywood seems to be doing, and I don't like it. Um, but it was a great story. I enjoyed it. To me, from my point of view, and it was a story about a young man whose whole life the power to be what he wanted was taken away. So he starts fighting to take it back. He starts fighting for revenge of his father, who he loved dearly. Because in the first movie, Paul wants to go off on adventures. He wants to go to Arrakis with Duncan and all of them. But the Duke says, "No, you can't. You are a Duke's son. This is your duty. You have to put duty before your wants." And he explained to him, explains, Duke Leto explains, "I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to go off flying, but I had to take that and put it aside for my people." And we see Paul having to do that. He tries for a while to take the power and be what he wanted, but then you see him fall into um, that same circumstance that his father was in. I have to put aside what I want and do what needs to be done. Um, I found this great article that I want to share. It's something that I've been working on myself. Um, how do you take back your power and become the best version of yourself? So let's look at this and see. The first one, take back your power equals take responsibility. That's one thing I've been working on doing. I've always said that 95% of my problems are my own, caused by me. It's that 5% that, okay, and listen to this by Adriana Rich. Responsibility to yourself means refusing to let others do your thinking, talking, and naming for you. It means learning to respect and use your own brains and instincts. Hence grappling with hard work. In other words, do we go with the flow, or do we stand against the current when we need to? Number two, reframe your thoughts and beliefs. From Brian McGreevy. If a problem can't be solved within the frame it was conceived, the solution lies in reframing the problem. Okay. How do you reframe your thoughts? First of all, you have to be aware of your thoughts. And that takes practice. For instance, the next time you catch yourself blaming external circumstance, just stop. Maybe you find yourself saying, "My significant other just broke up with me. Now I don't have to have anyone to go to this concert with." I challenge you to change that with, "Funny how we just broke up before this concert. Well, I guess it was the push I needed to start relying more on myself and learn to be alone with my own company. And who knows, maybe I'll meet some great people at the concert." You know, I that reminds me, I used to work at a grocery store. Worked there for about a year and a half. Mid-20s, worked my ass off all day. If we were I was a bagger and cashier. On days I was bagging, cashiering, I always asked the managers, "Hey, what do you need to do?" Well, I got let go from that job, and it really sucked. I worked my butt off. I I did my best, and it wasn't good enough for them. So I got to thinking, I taken 5 or 6 years off to work from school. I was turning 26, 27 at the time. And in Florida, um, if you try to get financial aid for college before you turn 26, I believe it was, you have to divulge your parents' income. But afterwards, after you turn 26, you don't. It financial aid focuses on your income and your income alone. So I knew, maybe I thought to myself, this is the kick I need to go back to school. I thought to myself, I have been spending years now bagging and ringing up $200 worth of groceries. I want to be the one buying $200 worth of groceries. I want to be other side of the conveyor belt for a change. And that's what I did. I took, man, I changed my way of thinking. I changed, man, this really sucks. Losing this job hurts. And it did. It hurt bad. Because the way they did it, they were very rude and hateful, calling me in on my day off to do it. But I thought to myself, no, I changed my way of thinking. And this is what it says: reaffirm your thoughts by changing your way of thinking. It was the kick in the butt I needed to go back to school. I went back to school, criminal justice major, and was enjoying it. It's a topic I've always been fascinated with. Wanted to go in law enforcement or some other maybe law-based career, but I ended up taking it a theater. Well, Inya, I was in there shopping. I was walking out the door, had bought about $100 worth of groceries. Walking out, the manager calls me over, says, "Hey, I need you to clock in." I didn't understand this. I'm thinking, okay, this is weird. I'd never experienced this, and they had me clock in just so they could fire me. Yeah, went out to the service desk, turned all my groceries so I can get the money back, and told the service desk girl, who I'd gotten to know very well, she was fun, worked with her a lot, and I said, I was just fired. This was after other managers telling me that they trusted me. They knew if they told me to do something, I would do it. And I was a hard worker. Yeah, it was we at the time had just another store in town open. So what they did is, when they do that, they kind of shuffled managers. So we get this manager from another store, old man, actually he's still there, and he very rude, very hateful. Just, he did not create a good work environment. And funny thing is, when I was going around looking for jobs before I got this one, I went to his store, and the service desk girl was just so rude to me. And I looked at her and said, I don't want to work here. I said, if it's gonna be like this dealing with you, I don't want to work here. And I heard we were getting that store manager when they shuffled the managers around. So he fires me, and I looked at him and said, I hand my ID, I throw my ID on the desk. I said, now I know why they were so miserable at that other store. It's because of you. And I walked out. I was not gonna. But number 3 is stop coming up with excuses. He that is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything else. Ben Franklin. I love Ben Franklin. He's got some amazing story too. How he went from a wannabe British socialite to just a father of the American Revolution. And that's with this job. I used that job as an excuse not to go back to work. So many people I knew, or go back to college. So people, you hear stories all the time about people working working and going to school. I can't do that. well, here I'm about to make an excuse. I just I used losing the job as a kick um, to what I needed to do, and we see that kind of taking back the power in Paul's story. He goes from a prince to nothing. He joins a society that does not recognize his um, inherited authority. But then we see him able to use both his new position when he gains the respect, he starts and becomes a leader of the Fremen, and the uh, the political power that he has from being a duke, and he takes control of everything. He takes that power, and I I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very well. It was beautifully well done. Like I said, I didn't like some of the character changes. It like I said, I think it's probably the best rendition of an amazing story, one of the best science fiction stories ever written, and I think it holds up. It's going to hold up like up against Star Wars, maybe um, Lord of the Rings. Probably, I would give this Dune would be in my top 10. These two movies are my top 10. Um, and a lot of times we see with a sequel that it's never as good as the first one. But this one is like Empire Strikes Back, and how it not only continued a great story, um, but also added to it. It it made me want a Children of Dune movie. I would love to see, because Children of Dune is the next movie, which follows Paul as emperor and his children, him and his and Chani's children. I mean, just look at this. This is one. It, the epic the epic knife fight is just so beautiful. You can see you have the two sides. You have the Imperials and the Fremen, and I love this jab, that this curse that Paul gives to Fade. May thy knife chip and shatter. I love it. I mean, and it's set along the sunset, because what's a sunset from another point of view? It's a sunrise. It's the sun is setting on House Carino, but you could say it's rising on House Atreides. It's and funny thing is, to get the knife sound effects. I love sound technicians. I might do a do a show on that, the crazy ways that they get the sounds that they want. The knife on knife sound effect was made by Dodgeballs, and it's just it, it's really it was a good climax to the movie, to the story of Dune. But Yeah, so I out of I give the movie a 9 out of 10. You know, S- so many people nitpick at it, but you know what I gotta say to the nitpickers?
It's a bullshit question.
Does that mean that you can't answer it?
It's a bullshit question. It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
Hey, Jacob, what's going on? Hey, funny you should mention Sonic. They just announced a new cast member for Sonic 3. It's going to be Keanu Reeves as Shadow. Hey, Jacob, thanks for being here. So, I've been playing a lot with StreamYards and getting some clips and stuff. I love the soundboard. Uh, one of my favorite ones I have is
You serious?
trying to keep my head on straight with all the home buying shit. Hence why I've been absent. They, yeah, that's no worries. My dad about I think it was my mom and dad's 30th anniversary. My dad calls up and says, "Happy anniversary! I bought you a house." Well, this house that we've been living in was built by a friend. So a few weeks before, my mom and dad were at. They live next door. They live. Yeah, they live next door, and they were up at the house for dinner. And he was the contractor that built the house. And he goes takes my mom and dad through it. My mom's like, "Oh, that's nice." And my dad a few weeks later because says, "Happy anniversary! I bought you a house." Which house? Oh, our friend's house. I don't like that house. Well, why did you tell him that you liked it? Because I wasn't going to be rude. My mom was telling him that he liked it because he wasn't going to be rude. She didn't want to be rude. So yeah, my dad, we don't know all about. My kids are getting a new rental house, and that is crazy enough. Buying can be a nightmare. We had to stay in a hotel for 2 months when we got ours. My family rented for a couple of decades from the same lady because my dad wanted to know he could afford a house before he bought it. He didn't want to buy a house and then risk losing it. So it but he got what he wanted. It's a lake house. He loves it. He's always outside doing yard work, piddling around in his shed, typical guy stuff. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Sonic. You know, I I'm not a big Jim Carrey fan, so as Robotnik, yeah, but he is big that Jim Carrey acts in a way that is endearing and funny and suits the character. He almost overacts. He gets to that point and just holds back. Well, it was all smooth sailing until the 401. I can't use all the assets I own. Bullshit. But we found a house we love. Now just holding out hope assistance comes our way. Yeah, my dad was lucky when he was going through all the stuff with the bank and stuff. House stays on the market as long as it takes because we fell in love with it. Ah, that's good. My dad was lucky. The lady who worked from the bank who worked with him was actually a friend of my mom's from church. So they had that personal connection. I was a year or two ahead of her son in school, but so yeah. But we had we were out of the house for about 2 years after Hurricane Michael, and my dad fought with the insurance company for about 2 years to get money to house repairs because our house's roof got ripped off and flooded from the rain. Well, the insurance company wanted to play bullshit word games and said, well, flooding, it didn't technically flood because flooding was when water comes up into the house. Yours got rained on. I'm like, I'm thinking, you assholes. I lost, our entire ceiling was gone, and you're playing word games. Ask the lender if you qualify for any grants. We were able to get a grant because of my husband's job. It paid off our closing costs and down payment, all except $1K. Yeah, that's when after the hurricane, my mom, about a few days after the hurricane, my mom was finally able to get into town, and we had drywall 3 feet deep. We had mold growing already. My mom takes a bunch of pictures and she goes into town to see the damage, and they have insurance places. They have brought in portables, and they had insurance places um set up to make claims. So my mom thinks, okay, why the hell not? Why don't I stop? So she's got my niece. My niece was 4 or 5, and she says my mom says to her, hey, can you look at this? Lady looks at the pictures on my mom's camera. She's like, she's going through like, y'all live. Are you living in this? My mom says yes. With her, points at my niece. My mom says yes. Lady says, hold on. She goes into the office and gets a manager or something, her boss maybe, and shows the manager what's going on. And my mom leaves there with a check for $5,000 to go towards repairs. And if it wasn't for the pictures that my mom had, there was no way that she would have gotten that money. But I enjoyed the movie. Already tagging to Flagler County shit program. Not a grant, but a 15-year deferred forgivable loan. Florida grants come with strings. Meaning approved lenders and mines in Illinois not approved naturally. That sounds like a stinking headache. But Inya, you need to go see this movie. It is so good. You need to see both of them. If you haven't, see the first one. It is one of those movies that you have to see both of them to really know what is going on. Timothy Chalamet. How do you ever use Chalamet? Timothy Chalamet, I think I was skeptical about him as Paul, but I really think he did a great job. I thought, Chalamet. Damn, that's right. It's French, isn't it? It's French, or what is it? Yeah, it's French. That's right. But he was a great Paul. I think certainly a better Paul than is a Willy Wonka. Ugh, I did not like Wonka at all. Zendaya, she's a beautiful young lady, beautiful actress. Just the character was not good. That was the biggest issue I had with it, But that's why I give it a 9 out of 10. But I've been really finding it hard to find topics for my streams, not just, I don't want to just be entertainment. I want to be entertainment and then how it applies, how it impacts a life, and how like psychology has impacted the uh, our entertainment. So if you have any topics you'd love me to cover, let me know. Hit me up on Discord, comment on here, leave a like, comment, subscribe, share the video, share my channel. I'd love to get more people into the Outpost family. You know, I enjoy talking nerd. I don't get to that much in my real life. My family, my dad and my brother, they're into sports and all that stuff. My mom, she doesn't she doesn't get it. She doesn't understand it. And just this past month, I've it's been so hard this past month or two. You know, I lost my job, and of course, school policies, they don't have to tell you why. Um, Lost an aunt and an uncle within a week of each other. Um, within within 1 week, I had two funerals and three, three job interviews. So this last few months have been hard. I I started counseling last week. You know, I think it's gonna help. It's too soon right now to tell, I think. But the lady we seeing her for a few months until the money dries up. The lady who I'm seeing, she is an ex-teacher, so she understands my issues with working in the school system. I mean, I I'm able to open up and really get the help that I've been needing for a very long time. I'm hoping that she can show me how to take back my power. You know what? Hold on a sec. I'm going to do something. I'm going to take some power back. Some power that was taken from me not out of malice. I just don't think they thought it through. So I'm going to do something. So forgive me, I might have to adjust some things. Might have to adjust some things. Hold on a sec. What's up? It's me, nerd. This is me. You know, I got my poofball hat. You know, it's very shiny, I think. You know, this is me. Hi. I didn't want to show my face for a very long time. Um, I'm your typical short, fat nerd. It's all that space. I got a very spacious room, don't I? But my son said, "Did he do a face reveal? Is he in Star Wars?" I'd rather be in Star Trek. You know, hi, Inya. This is me. You know, I'm short, fat, and under here I'm pretty bald. You know, this is one of my favorite things. I've talked about this before. This is a knitted wool Jane Cobb hat from Firefly, knitted for me by a fellow brown coat uh, from a Facebook fan page I used to be a part of. So it's my favorite thing. I wear it to conventions, and people always stop and comment on me. It's freaking hot because it's fitted. It's fitted wool, but you know, this is me. This is who I am. This is who you get. This is who you've been listening to for over a year now. I've been doing YouTube on and off for over a year. I did something brave today. I put it in for this Stan documentary. I will send you the video I submitted. My voice is shaking, but I did it. What's the Stan documentary? Hmm? I've been thinking about getting back into the theater and to putting myself back out there. Let's see. See, I'm short, fat, bald, and before you asked, the teeth. I had baby teeth, but did not have any teeth to come in. This is me. I'm on my terms. This is me. This is who God made. This is me taking back my power. I have had so many instances where people Eminem is making a Stan documentary and he's my favorite artist. Don't tell Darth though. And secret's safe with me. But I'm learning to love who I am. I'm learning to be proud of who I am. So this I love YouTube. I do. I enjoy it. I want to keep doing this. I want to keep helping other creators. But it's hard when you try to help them and they don't give you any return. And that's something I got to work on. I need to start thinking about what I want my channel to be, to keep evolving into, and to make it a place where people can come and enjoy themselves with no issues from anyone else, to escape reality. And that's what entertainment is supposed to be. This is what we have not been allowed to do for years now with the entertainment industry, is to escape. Everything's got to have a in your face political message. Well, that's not what entertainment is supposed to be for. It's supposed to be a way to escape and put the troubles of life aside. So and that's what I want to do. I want to help you put your troubles aside for a little while. So like I said, and I'm going to add a little something to this time. This is a thought I had. Don't have enough characters to write it down on the bottom. I'm going to say this. Find your passion and someone to share it with and nerd out about it. I'm the nerd of the Outpost. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm gone.
Lost in space, I found my police. In this outpost of solitude, my way. Binary code run through my veins. Every beat and beat, I feel no pain. Signing off, it's time to go.
Hey, Shelly, I got to come back. Shelly, you speak the truth. Finding validation in others, it's something I've struggled with. She snuck in out us before I left, but I had to come back. And Shelly, I gotta share this with you.
It's a bullshit question.
Does that mean that you can't answer it?
It's a bullshit question. It's impossible to answer.
Impossible because you don't know the answer.
Nobody could answer that question.
So you were the sneaky third one in here. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Thank you for being here. I appreciate. Thank you for. I'm going to take this opportunity. Thank you for all you do for me, Shelly. You kick me in the ass when I need it. So, I know I'm getting the truth, the trash and the truth. Talking trash, we pick on each other, and then the truth when we need it. So, I just wanted. I saw that. I saw your comment that I needed to do it. My dyslexia kicked in for a second. I thought that said ass kisser in you. But yeah, we need an ass kicker in our lives. And Shelly's really good at it. So we love her for it. So before we go, make sure you check out Talking Trash and Truths on her channel for some really amazing shows. Some really hard-hitting topics that really make you realize that you're not alone. That she has built a great community that really supports everyone. And I have to find out who I am for myself before. I'm still trying to figure out. Thanks for being here, Jacob. So now it's the real ending, guys. I'm gonna say it again. Find your passion, find someone to share it with, and nerd out about it. I'm the nerd of the Outpost. Love you guys.
Lost in space, I found my police. In This outpost is silent to my way. Binary code run through my veins. If there we meet and deep, I feel no pain. Signing off, it's time to go. Goodbye, my nerdy friends, see you later. I know through the stars we've shared this ride, but now it's time to say goodbye. Farewell.